Gentlemen, before we start briefly, just wanted to pay homage to just a little bit of what keeping everybody's mind, what happened 22 years ago today. It was a somber day and it still reminds some of us of the struggles we go through. With that, we will go ahead and get started with the pledge, call to order and pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next is roll call.
Osborne.
Here.
Euler.
Here.
Bentley, not present. Jones. Here. Kushner.
Here.
Thank you.
Approval of the city council minutes of August 28th.
Move to approve.
Osborne.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Jones. Yes. Kushner.
Yes.
Thank you.
Adoption of the agenda.
Move to approve. Osborne.
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Jones. Yes. Kushner.
Yes. Next, we have a proclamation for water and wastewater treatment professionals week, September 10th through 16th. And those of you who are here for this, get to come up, starting with you, Phil. And you have the right to make any of the rest of them come up. Come on up. Water and wastewater professionals week proclamation. These are important issues of what we have to deal with, and these guys take care of some of the unsung stuff with regularity. Water and wastewater professionals week proclamation, September 2023. Whereas water is one of our most valuable economic, environmental, and recreational resources, and whereas abundant water supplies attract industry and investment and create jobs, and whereas proper transport, maintenance, and treatment of water and wastewater facilities contributes to the health, safety, welfare, and economic vitality of the city of Warrensburg and its citizens. Whereas the citizens of Warrensburg rely on water and wastewater professionals to design, construct, own, operate, and maintain sustainable and resilient infrastructure. And whereas Water and Wastewater Professionals Week is a unique opportunity for these professionals and the communities they serve to join together and recognize the vital role water and wastewater professionals play in our daily lives. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Jim Kushner, Mayor of the City of Warrensburg, and the Warrensburg City Council do hereby proclaim September 10th through 16th, 2023 as Water and Wastewater Professionals Week. Thank you. Thank you all for everything you do.
This is Brian's brother from another mother.
We used to get a lot of trouble.
Love it. That's great. Thank you. Nice to meet you.
All right.
Love it.
Number 6, Johnson County Economic Development Corporation Small Business Development Center, presented by Ms. Tracy Brantner.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. It's always a pleasure to be here this evening. So tonight, our topic of discussion is small business resources. I think the last time we were together, Councilman Euler asked about, well, what about small business? And so that's what we're going to talk about this evening. So a little bit about JCEDC. So we are a 501c3 organization, which means that we are a public benefiting organization. All of our services, for the most part, are free and open to everyone without fee or otherwise, no burdens with regard to price or any of that kind of burdens that you sometimes find So public and private partnerships, obviously, we bring together the public and the private entities in order to make our organization work. We do abide by the open meetings law because we get most of our funding from public sources, and so frankly, I don't know any other way. So abiding by the sunshine law, it comes easy, and I think transparency is always very important and critical to all of our organizations and what we do, particularly nowadays. We serve all of Johnson County and all of the communities in Johnson County in many aspects of economic development. We work from a data-driven action plan. We're very measurements and key performance indicator oriented. In fact, we did a strategic plan in 2018 that set, although we probably need to take a new look at that after the pandemic, but we had 116 goals way back when, and much of what you'll see tonight is reflective of what was discussed back in 2018. We are very collaborative. We try to share resources locally, regionally, and statewide. We know we don't have enough resources to do it all ourselves. And so it makes sense for us to not reinvent the wheel and to do whatever we can to pull resources and collaborate wherever possible. Our board members, you have two of the esteemed JCEDC board members that's sitting in the room today, and there may be others behind me, but Mayor Kushner and Danielle Doolin are thankfully a part of our board, and we try to be very, I guess, diversified across Johnson County in terms of geography. We try to focus on the Holdens and the Leetons and the Chehowis because those are the communities and the people and the residents and the businesses that we serve. It's just, I shouldn't say just, it's Amy and I. Currently, we are currently on the look for a small business counselor. I've provided a couple of copies of the job description back here. If you've not seen that, we're still looking for that person. It can be remote. They probably do need to be local in terms of they can work remote, but they need to be fairly close to Johnson County because we have some small business owners that aren't computer savvy and don't have access to computers. I know that's crazy to say in this day and age, but we do have some small businesses that require in-person meetings only. Amy leads most of our business and talent development coordination, and she's focused on a lot of our day-to-day activities until we get a counselor that can kind of take over some of those things in terms of small business counseling. We're so thankful to the city of Warrensburg. I can't express it enough. The city of Warrensburg and Johnson County are our two major investors. We also received a lot of investments, from our banks locally, the university. Again, we can't do what we do without those investments, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them continually providing those annual investments and supporting our efforts. And we're very, very thankful for that. So JCEDC's main goals, as I mentioned, in 2018, we went through a very extensive strategic planning process. And as a result of that, we established 5 main pillars in what we do today. You'll see business development, which is the core function of any economic development organization. That's business retention, business expansion, business recruitment. That is the core of any economic development organization anywhere. If they're not doing those things, they're not economic development organizations. We also added entrepreneurship, talent, placemaking, and regionalism, which were all of the things that we pretty much did anyway. We just gave them a name and formalized them and added key performance indicators so that we kept on track with what we were doing. Tonight, we're going to focus on that entrepreneurship category. So this goal was very specific in what we heard from stakeholders back in 2018. Our stakeholders and everyone across Johnson County and our board basically said that JCEDC should take a lead role in cultivating entrepreneurship and innovation by supporting and developing the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So lots of words, but what does it really mean? So in 2016, there was a study by the University of Missouri that said, basically, there were several counties that weren't doing a very good job of supporting entrepreneurship. And this came out about the time that this, obviously, the strategic plan was being reorganized and rethought about. And Johnson County was one of those counties that really wasn't doing a very good job of supporting small business and entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship means to us, those activities that are driving innovation and anything that creates new jobs, new tax base in our community through small startups. So SBA defines small business as any business with 500 employees or less, so fairly big, right? Yeah, so not the normal, what we think of as small business, but that's the definition that the SBA uses, and we'll talk more about that later. But in 2016, the University of Missouri said Johnson County isn't doing a very good job of supporting entrepreneurs, and that was one of the reasons why this became a goal. Since that time, we have done I think, a very good job, and the numbers prove, I looked at them again this morning, that we are doing a much better job of even our counterparts that are located adjacent to us in not only jobs created as a part of self-employment, which is kind of what we're looking for, but also new entry into the market for small businesses and those that have not exited as quickly. So we're looking to retain those businesses in the marketplace. And we can talk about numbers another day because I don't want to get in the weeds with that because I will. So what are those objectives? So the objectives were cultivate entrepreneurship and innovation by supporting and developing the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So how do we do that? What are the objectives within that? What are those strategies? So basically there were three. One was improve entrepreneurial supports for startup and existing businesses, lessen the burden of governmental and infrastructure impacts on new and existing business, and establish one-on-one support systems to aid in small business success. And this is small business, however you define it, whether it's 500 employees or less, or the one-person remote operator somewhere. So why is this important? So we always want to go back to why are we doing this? What are the key reasons why economic development should be focused on small business support and making sure that we have a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship in our county? And the first thing is it creates GDP and economic growth. So how do we measure wealth in terms of economic development? Wealth is measured by increasing the ability of individuals to not only meet their necessities, but also to have disposable income. And so generating wealth, generating the value with regards to products and services that are made here, all of that is what we call, although some people don't really like the term, churn in the economy. What's driving the economy? Is it expanding or is it contracting? And why is this important? Increased tax base. Obviously, as a city, you're always constantly, I know Marcella back here is always looking at taxes. What does our revenue stream look like? What does our property tax stream look like? What does our sales and use tax look like? So all of that increases the tax base. Obviously, create and retain good jobs is kind of an easy measure for us to look at, and then develop and expand industry clusters. So what do we do in this region better than anybody? Small business wise, are there things that we're very good at? Turns out there are. Again, if you want to look at the data, we'll do that another day. But again, we're supporting those industry clusters and what they're doing, and our value proposition for doing business in this region. Might not be just Johnson County, but it might be the whole area. It attracts and retains talent, and then it encourages innovation and unique problem solving. And that's, again, what we want to encourage in the community. Resiliency and adaptability are also important. So how do we do this? What are the things that get done kind of first, second, and third when we're talking about entrepreneurship supports for startup and existing businesses? So in our minds, partnerships and referrals are key. So we can't do what we do without influencers and advisors. And who are those folks? Those folks are the accountants, financial institutions, attorneys, cities, chambers of commerce, local Main Street organizations, all of those entities that have contact with small businesses or even folks with ideas that say, hey, I've always thought about doing XYZ. How do I get started? What does that look like? And then they pass our name along to them as providing support service for that activity. We also work very closely with Voc Rehab. I called the city of Warrensburg this morning and we talked about the business license, and I just wanted to educate myself so I can educate others about what that looks like. So making sure that we're kind of constantly helping, hand-holding those small businesses and those folks with ideas as they start thinking about what they need to do in order to organize a successful business. Obviously, access to all types of capital and talent resources are some of the things that we provide. We provide access to state and federal resources. America's Small Business Development Center, which is what we are in Johnson County through Missouri's Small Business Development Center systems. Apex accelerators, which are government contracting and international trade specialists. Kaufman Foundation, I can just go on. Missouri Source Link, Veterans Business Outreach Center, Vet Biz in Kansas City, SCORE, the list just goes on and on. SBA, MU Extension, whoever we need to partner with in order to make that business successful. And it's very much a custom case-by-case basis. So it's hard to say that the client comes in the door. Yes, all of our services are free and confidential, and after that, everything else is customized based on what it is that you need and where you're at in the process. It's hard to write that on a piece of paper and say, here's here are your choices that you need to make. It's just almost impossible. So let's talk about America's Small Business Development Center in Johnson County. We have access to all of the small business development centers across the state, and there are many of them. Many of them are located in universities. Ours was located in our university for a time until it moved over to State Fair Community College. But that partnership remains the same, and those resources have only expanded since that time. But what do we offer? We offer group learning experiences, and I provided a handout. There's a blue sheet at your desk that provides all of the training events that are going on in this region. That doesn't include all of the other regions in Missouri, but this region and all of the opportunities for training that new startup businesses, entrepreneurs could take advantage of, or existing businesses. So from QuickBooks training to how to start a business, to government contracting 101, to international trade, how to get started, all of those things are available locally in Sedalia. And sometimes we hold them in Belton, and sometimes we have them here. So they kind of move around. But that's kind of the last 3 months or so of the schedule of what's available, at least within this center. So all of our referrals, we refer a lot of clients to other influencers and advisors. So for example, we have to provide at least 3 referrals when we're providing referrals. So we have a client that needs help with legal, we'll provide 3 references for legal, provide 3 references for accounting, we'll provide, up to 3 or more of maybe they need logo assistance or, marketing assistance or whatever. And so we'll provide those kinds of referrals to other entities so that they can take advantage of those services. And again, our one-on-one technical assistance is very customized. And then we have access to resources, business planning software, and QuickBooks. So we almost exclusively in the SBDC system, we try to get people to get connected with LivePlan. And if you're familiar with LivePlan, it's a very interactive narrative process. It's question-based where people can go through and do their business plan online. Very easy. It also has a fairly robust financial planning and forecasting section, which I love. It's probably one of the best. And so as we go through and we're trying to figure out, is this business going to make money? Because if it's not making profit, it's just a hobby. And at that point, maybe we ought to rethink what we're doing and maybe rethink about what the business model looks like. Again, profit margin or profit motive is important to what we do. We offer a 90-day complimentary license for LivePlan. If they don't want to use LivePlan, or if they don't have the ability, like a laptop or a computer, to use LivePlan, we can work around. So we have 3 other things that we can provide if they want to do a business plan. Pen and paper is one of the options if they don't have a computer. Score provides a very good template. And then we have that in Excel or Google Sheets or Google Docs. So people can go through and whatever format they need, we try to accommodate that as best as we can. And then QuickBooks, if you have been in business and you've always wondered, can I have QuickBooks? Is it the right thing for me? I have some thoughts about that. But there are resources that people can avail themselves of, and we'll gladly make a referral to a couple of people that can help support QuickBooks. There's lots of training, as you can see, that we try to offer very frequently in terms of time over time. And then we do offer a 30% off online subscription to QuickBooks, but they have to go through the SBDC or our office in order to get that discount. So what can we do? Really quickly, if you have a business or you are a business owner, our motto is guiding your business journey, delivering results from idea to exit. And that's exactly what we do. From idea to exit, we're trying to provide as much support as we can for that business operator or that person that's interested in starting a new business. We've talked about business planning. We do business growth. We have lots of modules for business growth. So if they're thinking about adding product lines or service lines, we have some software that helps them figure that out. We have market research. Again, demographics and data are what we like. And so we try to provide as much of that market research to whatever they're thinking about doing. Financial analysis and projections, that's kind of my role in the SBDC system, is providing that. Access to capital, we have microloan program, provided a couple of those brochures for the JCEDC Johnson County microloan program is available to anyone. They don't have to have a storefront, although they think they have to. They do not have to. And so that program is available and very successful. We've went upwards of $170,000 in that program. And people have really appreciated having that resource. We have a database of available sites and buildings on our website. And we have access again to workshops, training, and online courses that anyone can take advantage of. I think that hopefully answer some of your questions about our small business resources that we have, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Just happen to have a few questions. I'll keep it short.
Yeah.
Are some of our employers still having troubles finding employees here?
Yes, workforce and talent is a challenge. Yeah. Yes, from small to large, it doesn't matter.
What can we do about that? Anything?
There are some ideas. So one of the ideas is what is the breadth, and one of the thoughts is what is the breadth and depth of the issue? And given what that data shows, what should we do about it? There is some strategies in the economic development profession that tend towards on the demand side of the equation, where they just keep recruiting regardless of the nature, depth, or breadth of the talent that might be lacking. Our stance has always been, let's take a very concerted, detailed look at what that talent data shows us and figure out what are the things that can be done. Right now, we're in a mix with remote work. We don't know what that breadth and depth of that workforce and talent gap looks like. And so I think we're still trying to figure out how do we get to that.
And do you work with retail strategies at all?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, so when they have, particularly in the. When we have spaces that are listed on our available sites and buildings that probably need to be listed as retail. They reach out to us or they look at our website and they pull that information. Yeah. And I have their report. I got a copy of the report from last year, so, yeah. Something. So,
Thanks.
Retail, by the way, on the subject of retail, you don't know this. I mean, you know this because, but nobody said this out loud, probably. Retail is forever changed. That experience, that retail has forever changed as a result of the pandemic. I was looking at some numbers this morning with online ability and sales online. I think we increased again 2% last month. So it just compounds month over month over month, where more people are making online sales. Our job in the economic development world is how do we get our local folks, our local small businesses in that mix and online and competitive and making sales in that way. And that's one of the reasons why we provided a grant last year, $5,000 to move people per $5,000 per business to support their efforts to get online or to make their presence more robust or do what they needed to do in order to make online sales and be a part of that. I think 50% at the time of all of our small businesses were not online in any way, shape, or form. So we have to do a better job. Sorry. Any other questions?
What percentage are online now? About,
But online sales?
yes. How about just like in Warrensburg, if there's
I haven't looked at the data for just Warrensburg, but
for the county?
data I looked at this morning for Missouri,
Okay.
6 out of every 10 purchases are now online.
6 out of every. Okay. As well as having a storefront. In addition to a storefront or 100%?
6 out of every 10 purchases made by you, the consumer, are online.
So I think Councilmember Jones, are you asking how many of our businesses have an online presence? And have the ability to sell online?
Yeah, I guess I meant, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
so
of our
you're looking at the
businesses.
improvement.
Yeah,
Okay.
so if they have a storefront. But
Are they-
also online,
Mhm.
I'm thinking you're saying 60% of that could be online. That's not what you're saying.
No, I don't think so. What I'm saying is, I don't know the number of businesses that have a storefront and are also online. What I was saying was half of the businesses in Johnson County, 50%, so 1 out of every 2 businesses, whether they had a storefront or not, were not online.
Okay.
Some of them are direct sales. So they're not all of them don't have to have I mean, obviously a large percentage of them would be storefront, but not all of them have a physical presence. So, and then the other statistic was out of every consumer purchase made, 6 out of 10 are online. So that's the gap
Mhm.
that we need to think about. Yeah. Not gonna go away. It's never gonna be the same for a brick and mortar versus an online. I mean, all of those things have changed. So our job is to help those small businesses think about where they have their most advantage online and to make those things happen. Good conversation. Thank you. I appreciate that.
And I'm sure this is gonna be a yes, you are. But you're working on a plan, I'm sure, and as in other economic people, of how to help these businesses bridge that gap. Are there any, I'm asking for my own knowledge, but is there any movement that helps small businesses like that can't handle the shipping stuff or the packaging or the this or that,
Third party.
trying to help get
Yes.
several of them together where they can take their stuff?
Yes, so there are third-party distributors in the marketplace, depending on what it is. Typically, so we can look at. If it's a client that you know of that's interested in doing distribution or trying to get their product from their hands to the hands of the consumer, there are third-party distributors for that activity, just like there are third-party payers. Like the Shopify's, the PayPal's, the Etsy's, all of those systems. And so all of that has really diversified. And so if there's a function of business that you need, whether it be creating the platform, making the sale, getting the product in the hands of the consumer, all of that now has businesses that also do that for other small businesses.
Okay,
So
thank you.
just let me know what kind of distributors you need and I will send you a list.
No, but
Every single function has been, taken over by another business opportunity, and that's great. That's what we're here for.
oh yeah, the metamorphosis that happened from the instant explosion of technology. And with that technology and tracking ability and everything, and Amazon went from kind of a cool thing to it's a every single day necessity now for a lot of people.
I have never ordered anything from Amazon.
Okay,
So
that's a lot. I didn't say you, everybody, but there are. I have a friend that has a business that he had the hardest time getting things going until he hooked up with another company to do his shipping and
Yep.
his,
Third party.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Lots of innovation going on in that marketplace, and that's why I say that the retail brick and mortar has forever changed. And for those entities to survive today, they have to provide, if they have a brick and mortar storefront, they have to provide an experience and they have to provide some online purchasing opportunities. So. Okay, any other questions? All right, thanks, guys. Oh,
Thank you.
all right. Next topic, if you have them, I guess send them my way. I know if you want to talk about talent, we can talk about talent the next time we're together, or whatever topic that you want.
We'll be creative.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have. Second reading of an ordinance. Second reading, an ordinance adopting the annual operating budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023 for the city of Warrensburg, Missouri, presented by Marcelo's last budget.
Oh, that makes it sound sad.
That's a good budget though.
It is. So that.
I feel very well accomplished and thank you for your support. So as we've compiled this budget together, we've spent lots of time, as discussed 2 weeks ago. You saw bits and pieces, and then you saw some summations, and then 2 weeks ago it was presented in total, to give you an overview of how much, was revenues, taxes, how much is our expenses to personnel, to public safety, and et cetera. And I will be happy to answer any questions that you may have for this going forward. Again, I thank you for your support and I appreciate all the work that everybody, all of our department directors, all of our staff, puts together this document. I just put it in a summation to present to council for adoption going forward. So.
Okay. Questions? I know we've been dealing with it for quite a while.
It's a
Okay,
process.
go ahead.
It is a process. Thank you.
And so we're looking for a motion.
I forgot what it was, how you say it. You're gonna have to do it, I forgot.
Move to approve that ordinance second reading by title.
Thank
You
you.
need your second
It
reading.
is second reading.
Oh,
Just move to approve.
Just move to
never
approve.
mind.
Oh, see, I would have gotten it wrong.
Right, because it's second reading.
It is,
Thank
I'm
you.
ready to second.
Go with that. Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
Osborne,
Yes.
Euler,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Kushner.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, number 8, other business. Resolution in support of the Parkview Gardens Rehab Project, a resolution in support of Parkview Gardens Rehabilitation Project in Warrensburg, Missouri.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. You all received a letter last council meeting, I believe, from Missouri Housing Partners LLC requesting a letter of support. So what they're requesting a letter of support is for the Parkview Gardens in Warrensburg, Missouri. It provides affordable housing to seniors 55 and up population. The Parkview Gardens is a 108 unit development. It was built in 4 phases between 1977 and 1986. Missouri Housing Partners LLC is working, applying for federal and state tax credits, and so they are requesting a letter of support from the governing body. These funds will be used to do about $8 million of capital improvements, so substantial interior and exterior renovation of that housing development. Parkview Gardens is on North Street, just north of Grover Park, if you're not familiar with that. So staff recommends passing this resolution, authorizing the letter of support for this project.
I so move.
I just want to ask a question. Now, so these are still below market rates,
Yes.
rental rates?
So these funds will provide percentages of the units rented to households at 30%, 50%, and 60% of the area median. So it's
Thanks.
nice, yeah.
There's always a waiting list there.
I so moved.
Osborne,
Yes.
Euler.
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Kushner.
Yes.
Okay.
Next mayoral appointments, we have 2 people to put on the Historic Preservation Commission. Daniel Brigman and Michael Grief. Right? I got it close. Yeah, Michael, good.
On the first try anyway, right?
Need a motion for that?
I move to approve. Or accept.
Osborne,
Yes.
Euler,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Kushner.
Yes.
Thank you.
And now I believe that commission's full, is it?
Yes.
Anything good? Okay. Nothing, miscellaneous matters from the mayor, or appearance is not listed. There's nothing here, so. Next will be,
Anybody online?
No hands raised.
No hands.
all right. Miscellaneous matters for the mayor or council.
Nothing.
Is there another budget? We'll start next year. We get what, 2 weeks off or between now and audit?
That's right. We've already started working on the budget next year.
Oh, I'm sure. Okay, city manager and department directors report.
Do any of the department directors have anything, Ken? Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Since my report to the city manager last week, Friday, we had a building fire at 205 North McGuire. So I want to kind of update you on that. We had a engine crew actually was out and about there about a block and a half away when they saw the smoke as the tones were coming out. So they were there really quick. Was able to limit a lot of the damage to just the back of the house, saved a lot of pets, some salvageable items inside. But on the heels of passing the budget tonight and finishing up this year, as I stood there and watched our crews last week, a year and a half ago or so, as I kind of started this venture, I knew we would prevail and get through the struggles we had at the time. But with replacing half of our department kind of at the beginning of last year, we had a lot of uphill work to do to train and put those teams together. As I watched them work the other day, and then the past several fires, the support from the city manager and the council, both in the budget and just showing the support and the need. We've got a great team of firefighters. They made me proud the other night. We were clear the scene in just a little under 2.5 hours, which for an old house with lath and plasters, sometimes not the case.
It's either an hour or all night long.
Exactly. on behalf of the men and women, of the fire, I want to thank you for your support in there, and it's definitely evident on the street, on what we're getting done. Thank you.
Yeah, I went by and looked like it was a good stop. Did it catch the garage in the back too?
No, there was an addition on the back of an addition, which is where.
Oh, the add-ons.
And then the kitchen, area primarily in that back house, so. But yeah, just that main structure.
Okay, thank you. Good job as always.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to provide an update to you on our snow training. So for the upcoming snow season, we are going to be kicking off training once a week. It'll function more as a cross training, so we'll have staff members from plants and also staff members from our collections assisting streets with snow and ice removal. So that'll happen about once a week throughout the month of October. And a couple weeks ago, I actually had forgotten to let you all know that our brine maker has arrived, and so have the extra storage tank capacities for that. So we're still waiting on our 2 trucks. Still tentatively, it looks like October is when we'll get those to add that to our arsenal for fighting and snow and ice.
October this year.
Yes.
It's in the-
October of this year. No, it is a big with supply chain issues. And also with the street maintenance program and kicking off a lot of the curb removal. An interesting data point. So we had removed approximately 890 linear feet of curb along North Main, which is approximately the production that happened in 2021. For all of 2021 throughout the curb and sidewalk program. So with just one street alone, we hit a metric from 2 years ago. And so we're just getting started. And so I thought I'd share that some of those efficiencies that were gained that we would hope to have seen are starting to be realized. So with that, I'll answer your questions.
You removed the curb and guttering?
Correct. Remove and replace.
Oh, and replaced it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't hear the replace, but I heard the remove, and I'm, yeah,
Okay.
just wondering.
No, I appreciate it.
It'd be really efficient that way.
Yeah, I think-
Are you guys working in Spring Ridge now? I saw a lot of markings and.
Yeah, we're gonna be marking if it just like where the limits for removals are. The contractor has removed 100 plus on like High Drive.
I just saw it out there. I know some of it out there is in bad shape.
Yeah, so we got a lot of curb left to do.
How much more sidewalk do you have? Money left for, I guess, well, this year's over.
We're
In 2
wrapping
weeks.
up. We have around, we're still waiting for final invoice, but it's around like 6,000 left, 6,000 left to go. So we're still, I don't have any updated numbers on that yet. So it's been a little slow with the heat, weather, and the contractor getting pulled off to do other work. But once we're done and wrapped up, share the final numbers with you all.
And then beginning next fiscal year, you'll go to another zone or you'll stay in the same zone?
We'll be in another zone and then finishing up, at least try to finish up a lot of what we weren't able to accomplish budget wise in this zone. So, but this October, November, we're going to be starting inspections for the next zone.
Okay,
So that'll be the plan.
thank you. Do you know what zone that is?
3.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll ask that question. East, west, or south of where you're at now?
East.
Pardon me?
East of where we're at now.
Okay,
So, and then actually a little south in that same zone. So, because there are pieces that we did not inspect. So we're gonna make sure we get that all buttoned up. So,
sounds good.
all right, thank you.
We have, Susie Latari has raised her hand to speak under appearances to council not listed on the agenda, so. We will let Susie.
She's on.
Are you there, Susie?
Where? He's monitoring the attendance online and she's on.
Susie,
Does she see us?
Yeah.
We can't see her.
you can wave at it, but.
You should be able to talk, not here.
Susie, you there? Okay. Technology. All right, anything else, Danielle?
I don't know if you all have noted, saw on Facebook or not, but we are very excited. Main Street has secured, for the first time in 10 years, a carnival. For Bird Fest this year. I know that is something, a goal they have wanted to try to work on and try to get done. For the last several years, and we are very excited to have a carnival at Bird Fest this year. So we are really working and hustling and scrambling to accommodate that, but we're very excited that they were able to secure a carnival this year. And then just kind of, I shared with you all a little bit. Thank you very much for the opportunity to attend the City County Communications and Marketing Association Conference in Orlando last week. Jody and I went, I think we got punished for our very smooth travel day out there because we did spend about 16 hours in the airport together on Friday, but we were in good company. But truly it was a great conference. We learned a ton. We are already trying to implement and practice some of the skills that we did learn. I speak for myself, it was very humbling, as well as a little overwhelming, just to see the skills and the creativity and the talent of those communication folks that are in local government. They are have journalism backgrounds, journalism degrees. A lot of them have actually been reporters and anchors and have moved into local government space. And so it was very humbling, but we also learned a lot. And so just continuing to try to tell our story and try to work on our communications and telling all the good work that we do here at the city of Warrensburg to the residents. Thank you for the opportunity to get that training.
Yes, thank you.
That it?
You look like you have a question. Bruce.
I actually, okay, I have a question. It just happens, going in the future, I was out at West Park the other day, the kids are playing soccer out there and fantastic turnout. Unfortunately, we run out of parking over there. So they're having to park around Turkey Foot and then are parking over at the Ball Diamonds. So I know it's like peak hours, but it was a zoo over there the other day. I don't know if there's any plans to do something with parking out there in the future, increase it or put some up there by the road, maybe.
I'd have to speak with the park board.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any plans right now. We could certainly review the master plan, which we do, our building and grounds committee. As part of that, I didn't know Jason is here this evening, our park board president, put him on that.
Jason.
On the hot seat here. Anything in regards to
So in regards to especially any development out at West Park, I know that we have shifted our master plan committee where we're gonna start meeting again in January. And look at our capital improvement plans and the master plans moving forward to see what is most needed for the community. Rather than this big beautiful plan that was put together in 2017.
Sure.
In a massive floodplain.
Yeah.
So it's. What do we need to do to be like now? The best use of our. That's part of what we're gonna work on starting in January is, there's a lot of things that we really want to do there and so that is on the radar and is part of what we're going to discuss.
I had a few people come up, recognize me, and then, hey, I mean, it's great to see all the kids out there. It's really great, but they're having a park all over that area. And of course, in between games, it's really chaos, but.
I didn't realize how many fields were out there until I saw something, I think it was on your Facebook, where you were showing all of the fields and where the little kids were going to be versus the other ones. I had no idea it went that far back and it was that huge. And no wonder you don't have any parking.
And it's empty most of the time. I mean, you just have that peak time on Saturday morning and there's.
Doesn't the city own that whole piece of land right there? Oh, see, there you go.
Commissioner, I just got a message from Susie. And share her message, or she wanted to just say thank you very much to Warrensburg Fire Department and the emergency responders. Given today's anniversary, she just wanted to give her appreciation and gratitude.
Okay, so thank you to them. Besides, anything else with Doolittle?
That's all I have for you this evening.
Anything to add to the finance report?
No, I'll say that use tax for as of August exceeds budget, which is something that last year's trends was downward. You know, and you heard Tracy talk about that earlier tonight, so I just thought I would highlight that as one of the things that for 2023, we've already exceeded our budget projections for the use tax specifically. Sales tax will most likely also exceed that by between 3% and 5%, which is a good sign. General revenue in total is basically coming in that budget or exceeding budget going forward. Also give kudos to my staff. They had a very challenged customer last week and did very well in diffusing that situation, explaining the processes, and thanks to our management staff and safety concerns with making sure that staff was completely safe in all that process going forward. But the frontline staff handled that very well and trying to diffuse that particular person's attitude and actions. So they get lots of accommodations for that. So thank you.
Yep. Okay.
We had, I don't remember, I didn't look it up before tonight, but homelessness had been discussed, and I think staff was going to look at some possibilities of dealing with the homeless problem in Warrensburg, particularly downtown. And I was somewhere over the weekend and was approached by several people with their concerns. And so I was wondering if that could be something that maybe could be looked at. I can share some of those concerns with Danielle.
That'd be good if we could talk about those offline.
Yeah.
Great, that's it. All right, that's it then. Adjourn for the evening. Thank you all for being here.